I ordered $5,000 worth of lashes and eyeliner. And overnight, the company that I had been ordering from disappeared. And the money, like there was no recovering it.
And your bank couldn't retrieve it or anything?
No, so
You were so busy, you had a 3 to 4 month waiting list. How did that happen for you?
I really built my reputation as like, that was where it all started.
Oh,
It was those once in 100 year rains that we got like 4 of a year. Oh, that was not a good time. I remember pulling into the car park and there was like 10 people standing out the front of the salon. My heart just sank. I was like, this isn't good. And I walked up to the front door and the lady in the shop next to me came up and she just gave me the biggest hug and she was like, oh, darling, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what has happened? And I walked up to the front door and I just saw
This podcast is being recorded on Gubby Gubby land. We pay our respects to the traditional custodians of this land, our country, and elders past and present. I am Cait Muir and we're back with another episode of Tell Me About a Podcast. And today I'm sitting down with someone who honestly makes me feel like a bit of an underachiever, and I mean that in the best possible way. Tash is the founder and owner of Lash Baby Australia. She opened her first salon at 20, funded by a credit card that wasn't even hers, and has since built not one, not two, but 3 salons. She survived collapsing roofs, flooding, COVID, and a supplier who literally vanished with $5,000 of her money. She's now running a team of 5. She has an online store supplying lash artists across Australia. She runs her own lash training academy where her students are out there winning awards. And she just took out Lux Life magazine's Female Entrepreneur of the Year for 2026. On top of all that, multiple businesses, all the things, she's made herself get to 25 gigs last year, and she's actually an absolute metalhead, which is the funniest thing ever if you're looking at you, Tash, because you're such a girly girl looking type at the moment. Your beautiful beige blazer.
it's such a contrast.
I know, but I kind of love that about you too, because you have such a girly job and like it's pink power, like everything's pink, and then you just go and see you middle of a mosh pit, seeing the grungiest metal bands, and it's just this beautiful contrast of you, and I love it.
Oh, it's so much fun. I absolutely love it. It's definitely a big change because the salon and the brand, everything is bright pink, and it just does not match with my black personality.
I think, it's pink on pink on pink, everything to do with Lash Baby. And I love the name even because I know that's not the name you started with as well.
No, it's not. It's had 3 changes.
Okay. What brought you to Lash Baby?
At the time, I was really young and everyone kind of was always saying to me like, oh, you're such a baby. You're such a baby. You're so young. And then I kind of just like connected the dots and was like, Lash Baby. Like all I do is lashes, is my world. Everything is lash, lash, lash. So I was like, let's just run with it. Let's just kind of lean into that like nickname that I've been given already. So may as well just see where that goes. And it just worked.
I love that. I love it. It's a bit of a play on a nickname or something like that. They're my favorite type of business names because they're so sentimental as well.
Exactly.
And like for anybody, anybody who's listening in, Tash is only actually 28 years old, and it's quite amazing how much you've actually achieved in your few years, because you fell into the beauty industry at 16, and that was kind of an accident, which I feel like happens to a lot of people. But for being in for 12 years now, how much you've actually achieved in that time is pretty astronomical.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely been a wild journey, and it was one that I never ever predicted for my life. It was not my plan in the least.
I love that. So how did you fall into this?
So I was actually working at a sandwich shop, and that was my job. It was like $12 an hour, and I absolutely hated it. I had to wear a bright green shirt, and that was just like the limit for me. Once I wore that shirt, I was like, this is not me. I am not doing it.
Body green ain't it?
Oh, it was so bad. So I just wanted to get out so desperately. And I saw a local salon put up a post saying they're looking for someone to work 2 hours a night after school and just packing orders, labeling boxes, that sort of thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to message them. I'll drop in my resume after work. It's on my way to my other job. So I'll just stop in. And I got there and I spoke to the woman, and we had a little chat and she read through every single thing on my resume and quizzed me on it and was like, what does this mean? What is this? What is that? What is this job? And I was like, okay, all right. Like I'm glad I didn't lie on my resume because I was like, I'm excited for everything. So
It's like that movie, is it Confessions of a Shopaholic or whatever? And she says that she can speak Finnish because nobody ever knows Finnish. And then she's confronted with it. I'm just picturing this woman being like starting to talk to you in another language because you're like, I'm bilingual.
that was literally what it was like, though. She questioned everything. And then at the end, she was like, okay, cool, you start Monday. And I was like, what? I got the position? She's like, I passed. She was like, come in Monday. And I was like, okay, cool, can do. And I remember I walked into my like sandwich making job and it was such a sassy moment. I just walked in and like threw my apron in and was like, I quit, bitches, and walked out.
It's like, what's that fucking show? Summer Heights. It's like, bye everyone.
Exactly.
See ya. Burns everything on the way out.
I was like,
Mr. G.
I was like, I'm never coming back. So I was like, I do not care, and just got the hell out of there. And then it was actually a really interesting thing when I first started this job at the salon. I worked like a week there and I was like, it's really interesting that I haven't had to like fill out any bank details or like tax information. I haven't filled anything in. And I was like, this is a bit weird. I got to like the second week and I remember I walked in and there was this guy in the building and he kind of just looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, who are you? And I was like, oh, I'm Tash, I'm the new girl. Like, I'm just, packing the orders and stuff. And I was like, who are you? He's like, I'm the owner. And I was like, what? And it turns out the girl who hired me was actually like one of the staff. And she
trying not to work?
Yeah, she didn't actually have like the authority to put me on. So it was very, I was like,
it's an interesting start to a new job.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, I've just appeared in this job. And I was like, well, I'm going to make it worth it for you. Like, I'm going to work really hard. And I ended up working there for like quite a few years. And I was a very hard worker through that time. And I'm really grateful that I got to like enter the industry in that way. But it was like overall quite a toxic business to be involved in. It was very rough. There was so much just crap that went on. And I'm like, oh, okay, that taught me what I never want to do as a boss.
I think that's like one of the hardest things. I feel like, I don't know if it's just like people who went through their first careers in like the 2000s or something like that, but I just feel like everybody's had one job in their life that's really affected them and really hurt them, but it shows you what you won't tolerate. It shows you what you won't, apply yourself. And also, as cliche as it is, it's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you just learn better coping mechanisms and stuff like that. By all means, not saying that behavior's okay, because it's absolutely not. I was exactly the same with mine, but with my first job. But yeah, crazy. I love that you were hired by someone who was not even given the green light to hire.
No.
I've never heard of that before.
It was a very wild situation. I was just like, oh, cool. Okay. Like, I'll just go work my butt off and I'll make this work because I am not going back to that sandwich store.
I love that. I fucking love that so much. And was this the job? I know that we had in our notes here that there was a story about you getting fired while you were literally trying to resign.
Yeah, same job. So I worked there for like quite a few years, and it got to a point where I was like, I was definitely a hard worker, but I was also a freaking know-it-all. And like
weren't we all when we were in our early 20s, late teens?
Yeah, I look back and I'm like, for a 17-year-old, I had some balls, and like I was like doing so much stuff that I was like, if I had a staff member that acted like that, I would have to be like, okay, what the hell? So my boss and we clashed so much, and it got to a point that I was like, I wanted to advance in the industry. I was like, I want to update things. I want the courses that we run to be the best courses that there are. I want them to be detailed. I want to update the lash manual. I wanted to do so many little things, and I was just told no all the time. He wanted to make the courses actually shorter and cut like 2 hours off them. And it was already a 1-day course. It was like 6 hours to learn lashes. And I was like,
that's terrifying. Imagine being a client of someone who's done a half-day course.
It was shocking. And like I talk to my students now and we literally laugh about like how hard it would be to do a 1-day course for lashes. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine it. And when my bosses and I were like butting heads really badly, I snapped and was like, I'm done. I wrote a 10-page resignation letter because I wanted to highlight to him all the things that he was doing wrong.
Jesus, you did have balls.
Yeah. I'm glad I never handed that in.
Oh my God, I remember resigning from my apprenticeship. I tried to resign 2-3 times. Well, I was qualified by the time I did resign, but twice through my apprenticeship. And then the third time they finally, like I was qualified, so they couldn't keep me on anymore.
Yeah.
And I cried and I was nervous and I was shaking and I didn't want to have the conversation. I just kind of wanted to never go back. And you walk in, you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Here's all the shit you did wrong. And this is why I'm leaving you.
Yeah, exactly. I walked in and I had it in my hands and I was like, right, like I'm out. And I walked in and it was like, I also had agreed that I would work there for like the next 8 weeks and train up my replacement. I was like, I will do everything right by you. Like, I want this to be civil, but I also want you to know what's going on. Like, this is not viable. And I walked in and he literally like cornered me in the front door and was just like, don't bother, get out, you're fucking fired. And I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for making this epic. I'm out.
We agree.
Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome. This works.
I love that. So this first job in a beauty salon was also a lash academy, and that's where you learnt to lash, really.
Yeah. I remember I was told that I was learning lashes and I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to do this. Let's see how this goes. And I absolutely hated it.
Did you?
So much. It was so hard. So hard.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah, I believe you.
at the start, the first few clients I did, I was questioning everything. I was like, why don't my sets look like the senior artists? They had 8 years experience. Of course, they didn't look the same. But I was like, it's taking me 4 hours to do a set and they're not coming up good. And I was so upset with it. And I was so frustrated because I'm a perfectionist. And I'm like, I want them to be beautiful, but they're not. And I was so flustered by it. And then I still remember the exact client. Her name was Ruby. And she was really, really cute, like alternative surfer girl from Torquay, like coastal vibes. And I remember doing her lashes and I looked at them from my perspective and I was like, these are pretty good. And then she opened her eyes and I was like, oh, they look so pretty. And that was it. From that point onwards, I was like, I want to do this to everyone. Like, I want to do everyone's lashes. And it propelled me into this insane career that was just, it's been a total whirlwind, to be honest. Well, amazing.
I think it's like, and I can probably speak for a lot of my friends here, it's like I'd go without food before I go without lashes. I don't wear makeup or anything very often. So it's like if I don't have my lashes and my brows done, I feel so hideous. So I'm like, that is one thing that Cam knows. It's like, if we're trimming out of the budget, it ain't lashes. I'm just telling you. So I met you because you were renting a room off one of my friends, Tess, who we had businesses across the road from each other. So Tess had a beauty salon, I had my hair salon, and you were just in a little dark room there, just renting a room for quite some time. So how did you go from renting a room to salon to other salon to academy to all the things?
So when I first met Tess was when she was actually building the salon. And at that point, none of the cabinetry was in, none of the room was actually fitted out. And I remember going in and like seeing this dark salon with nothing put in it. And I was like, I think I can fit 2 lash beds in this room, which
they were tiny. They were like the size
away. There's no way. And we both like had no idea. We were just like, yeah, like we can probably fit 2. It should be fine. Because at that point, I already knew I need help. I was like, I am so booked and so busy. I'm rejecting people left, right, and center. I was booked like 3 or 4 months in advance. And I was like, okay, I need a staff member. And then when I moved in and everything was built and everything was finished and the cabinets were in and the walls were in and the plaster was in, I was like, you cannot fit 2 beds in here. It is not going to happen. So I knew very quickly that I was like, okay, I'm going to have to look at something different. So while I was working for Tess, I ended up finding this, not working for Tess, but in the same building, renting from Tess. I ended up finding this tiny little salon. It was 40 square meters and it was really, really affordable. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to fit this out and renovate it and just get it done. So I was
And so
getting up.
that one was in the little arcade, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Opposite
yeah.
my office. So
That's the
back
one.
then I had just moved my coaching business into a commercial office because my staff were all working from my house. And I was like, I need some separation. And so yeah, same thing. Cause I think we had almost like mirrored shops from each other in this little dingy arcade next to a laundromat and a Chinese shop. And it's
Yeah.
like, but you know what? It was like good in there for the time that it lasted.
It was, and it was so affordable as well. Like, I think it was like $300 a week or something. Like,
Yeah, I think mine was yeah, circa like $1,200-$1,300 a month or something like that. Yeah, that rings a bell. So cheap.
I love it. I'm like unheard of with commercial properties now, but like for the time,
Yeah.
it was a great stepping stone.
And I mean, you fit a lot into that tiny little shop. Like you fit like a lot. Like you had a couple of beauty rooms, you had a back room. I didn't have a back room for my stuff. I was like, suffer any jocks, you can eat at your desk.
It was, I remember my mum and I, we sat down and because we had no experience in building or fitting out a salon, we had no idea what we were doing. So we literally like ratioed it and cut out pieces of paper that were the size of each room and then just like jumbled it around until we found a layout that we were like, okay, we can fit a spray tan room here, we can fit a staff room here, and we could do 3 beauty rooms and still have a waiting area. But
I love that because I think like I've done that with when we were ordering our couch and everything for our house, we did the same thing. We taped it out on the ground. Like we put our old couch in the position on one end and then we taped it out to make sure that it wasn't going to be too big or too bulky or too whatever. Like I think that's fab. I think that's a great way of doing it. And especially like, dare I say it too, a lot of builders or shop fitters aren't really going to know much about fitting out a lash salon either.
Definitely not. They have no idea the requirements of the room as well.
Exactly. And I just want to kind of go back a bit because you said something really great, which was that you were so busy, you had a 3 to 4 month waiting list. How did that happen for you?
I really built my reputation as like the lash fixer. That was where it all started.
Oh,
Yeah. So I made myself known by getting the worst of the worst lashes coming through and doing repair work. So my reputation was based purely on that. It was just I fixed the most effed up lashes that you could find.
I think mine were like that when I started coming to you. I'm pretty sure I had like glue everywhere and bits falling out and my poor little lashes were all snapped off. I think that's absolutely incredible. What advice would you give, I guess, to somebody starting out in the lash industry who wanted to really build and grow their clientele? Like how would you recommend that they do that?
Be passionate. Like that's the biggest thing. If you don't care about what you're doing, your clients will feel that and nobody will come back because clients can tell. They know when you give a shit. Like if you really care about what you're doing and the services that you're delivering, the experience that they're getting, if you just care, it will work. And I'm like, that alone is not enough to build a business on. But if you have that passion, you will find a way. And everyone has like a little niche that they get into. They have a little area that typically is where they'll excel and do really well. And focus on that. Do what you love doing. And it comes across in your work. Your clients feel that passion. And when they find someone that really cares about what they're doing, that's when you build that connection really, really quickly. And clients will start referring you to their friends.
I love that. And I think as women too, we're so intuitive anyway. You can sense things. You can sense if someone wants to be there or not too. So you fit out this amazing salon. You worked there for a little while. I think I'd vacated well and truly by the time that you moved in there because I'd moved somewhere else. But it didn't end well there.
No, it did not. So we had months of like on-off closures with COVID. And during that time, I was constantly in touch with the real estate being like, hey, can we please repair the roof? Because there was a crack in the ceiling that ran from one end all the way to the other and a giant chandelier that was already in there when I moved in. And that was hanging in the middle. And I could just see this crack on either side of the chandelier. And I was like, this thing's going to come down. And that was my worst fear. So the roof was constantly like flooding. There was little bits of water coming through.
I remember once you had a bucket next.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was having my lashes done. For reference, guys, this building was like a big arcade. I think there was maybe like 4 shops on either side, like a walk-through arcade, not a drive-through one. And it was like 70 years old, 80 years old,
Yeah.
something like that, like really, really, really old. And like the landlords were people who had never done any maintenance on it. They just collected their money and it was pretty bad.
It was. It was really bad. And then when they finally agreed to fix the roof was when the COVID lockdown, the biggest one, had just ended and we were just coming back to work. And I was like, I can't afford to close right now so that you can repair the roof. Like, this should have been done beforehand. So the lease ran out and I was like, I'm going to make a quick shift and I'm going to find an alternative property and just move in real quick and get the hell out of here. So I found another salon that was already fit out. It had 3 rooms, so it was the same size as where I was. It was very poorly laid out. It was not well thought out, and the rooms were in a weird order. The air conditioner was pointing straight at a wall. Like, there was so many problems with it. So I moved in there. I paid.
An aircon installer would do that anyway. Silly people, like, do your job.
Yeah, it was so stupid because you could get the back of the salon would be cold, but none of the rooms would have any airflow, like, at all. It was just an absolute nightmare. So the real estate did not want to give me a 12-month lease, but I did not want to have a long-term lease there because I knew it was the same size as where I was and I'd already outgrown that space. So I was like, I've got to do it. So I paid all the advertising and leasing fees and had to pay a fortune for the property so they'll give me a 12-month lease. And the other thing was it had the security of a ceiling that was intact. So I was excited about that. I was like, yes, like, I don't have to stress anymore. No more sleepless nights when it's like pouring rain. Like, I'm going to be fine.
Just wondering if I'm going to go into my salon, still going to be there.
Yeah. And I was like, I've got peace of mind. So that's worth it. And I jumped from paying I think it was about $350 a week in the end with that salon. And I jumped up to $2,500 a month. And it was a huge adjustment in outlay. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. I'll make it work. And then that salon had the ceiling collapse. And I was just
I wonder what the energetic metaphor for ceilings collapsing is. Like, I wonder if there's like something about being ungrounded through that time, or like what the message was there, because not once but twice is fucking unlucky.
Oh, it was such bad timing. So we'd already signed the lease and started building the 3rd salon. And we were only maybe 2 months, because we moved in the March and this happened in January. So we were 2 months away from moving out of that space anyway. And that's when it happened. And that was hard. That was way worse than the first one, because the ceiling from the front of the store to the back of the store collapsed. And the water was ankle deep from front to back of the salon. And that was just, that was not a good time, because I remember it was those once in 100 year rains that we got 4 of a year. And
I was just going to say.
it was so common. I don't know why they kept using that term. It drove me
Especially
crazy.
in Belmont, how many times the rivers flooded? Like, it happened all the time, guys. Stop gaslighting me. This is not once in 100 years.
Exactly. So I remember watching the lightning storm at home, and I was sitting in the back room of my house and I was like, well, the lightning's so pretty. And then I watched how much it was raining and I was like, I'm gonna check the salons when the rain stops. So we drove to a town and came to this space first and checked it out. And we're like, right, that salon's fine. The water's not up at the front. It's not up at the back. Everything should be good. We'll just double check the Belmont store and see how it's going, just to be safe. And we got there and I remember pulling into the car park and there was 10 people standing out the front of the salon, and my heart just sank. I was like, this isn't good. And I walked up to the front door, and the lady in the shop next to me, she came up and she just gave me the biggest hug and she was like, oh, darling, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what has happened? And I walked up to the front door and I just saw the ceiling was completely collapsed. Everything was on the ground. Everything was destroyed.
that you move into this safe new salon, like this safe new space. You put out all this money to try and go somewhere that you're like, yay, it's like structurally sound.
Yeah. And it was
Feeling
way worse. And I remember
Wow.
being so distraught in that moment, but I was like, okay, I've got to just do what I can. So I got the SES out. They came out and like disconnected everything and were like, okay, it's safe to go in. Went in and that was it. It was like 2:00 in the morning by that point, and I just started going into salvage mode. I was like, what can I do to fix this? Like, what can I salvage? What can I save? Like, I remember having lash trays like floating in water, and I was like, oh my God, just so stressed. The back part of the building was okay. So I just had to get everything out as quickly as I could because it was hot and it was raining and it was moldy. Like by the next morning there was mold. And I was like, okay, I've got to go into overdrive. So the real estate was kind enough that they had a spare or empty shop just like 3 or 4 shops down. And they were like, you can move in there while we do the repairs on this building. And I was like, okay, fantastic. So I started moving everything down. It took me a couple of days to get everything set up. And I was like, okay, we'll operate from here temporarily.
We'll just work how we need to work. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was actually like an old hearing aid store. So all the rooms were like built and soundproofed and it was fantastic. I was like, yo, this will work. I can work with this.
Yeah.
And the second day that we were in this temporary space, I walked in and I remember like this distinct feeling. I was like, why is the ground squishy? And I was like, I don't like this. What is going on? I looked down and sure enough, the store had freaking flooded. Yeah. So there was a little coffee shop next door that had a coffee machine that had like a drip function of some description and a bucket filled with water, and they had to empty it at the end of every day. And their staff member didn't empty it at the end of the day. And overnight, it overflowed and flooded all into this store. Their store was
So you've had 3 salons that have been ruined by weather events and things out of your circumstances. That is just, it's unfathomable, honestly, just to think of like, it was like one thing after another, after another, after another. So how long then was it before you could move into your new space that you were fitting out your big Geelong salon?
So we moved in about 8 weeks after. We put up a salon. We were like, let's just get the bare minimums done. We'll work on like touching up little things once we're in there, but let's just get in there because I'm done with Belmont. I was well and truly over it at that point.
Like, I just need to leave this suburb. I'm out.
Yeah. Old buildings, bad ceilings. I was done.
I love that. And so now you're in your absolute pink power big city salon in this beautiful little pocket of that town. And when did the training academy and everything come into play? When did that get introduced in this mix of, you know, everything you had going on?
When I built this salon, I built a training room in the salon. I was like, I knew that I wanted to do teaching again because I'd done that when I was working for my old boss. And I loved it. I was so passionate about it. I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to continue with it. But I had that mindset of I can't do it till I have the perfect space or the perfect salon. Where it just all got held up until we moved into this space in 2022. And I launched the training pretty much as soon as we were in because I'd already been working on the course structure, the products, the supplies. I'd already had that all in the mix for like 2 years already. So I was like, you know what, just go for it. Just do it. And I did.
Queen. How And so as well as that too, we didn't even touch on that as well. Like you have your own lash supplies.
Yeah. So that launched during COVID. That was one of our like little Hail Marys to try and survive. Yeah. So we started that literally like mid-COVID. It was 2020. It was the very like early first few lockdowns because I was like, I actually have the time to do this and work on it. So started ordering in all the different samples and was like, right, let's go for it. And that was another like little factor that helped get us through all those lockdowns. It was wild.
I really enjoy hearing that too, because I think for a lot of people, they had to pivot. We had to pivot. We lost, a third of our clients, we lost almost immediately. And then everybody else, we put their price down to try and keep them in the program, which was great. And to keep them working with us through that whole time. And thankfully, a lot of our clients were great with their money and could afford to stay on board, which was awesome. But it definitely made me reflect on how I deliver things. We got rid of our commercial office and moved home. But through that time, everyone really had to pivot. And that's an amazing thing that you launched. when you were forced to sit at home and not be around people, which is so hard for someone who's like a people person too.
It was like at the start I was going crazy. I was like, what do I do? Like what can I do? So I started a couple of businesses during that time. I was like, let's just see what works. What can I run with? How do I do it? And the other business that we started was our magnetic lash business. And that popped off. That did so well because everyone couldn't get into salons. No one could get their lashes done. And it was literally like an eyeliner that you put on and then you stick the lashes to the liner. It had like all magnets in it. And it was really, really cool until it wasn't. And my supplier, I did like my small orders. I did my due diligence. I was smart with it. And I was like, I'll do a few small orders, test everything out, make sure it's all good. I had my first sample and then my first order of like 50. And then I did a bigger order of 100. And I was like, okay, everything's coming through good. There's no issues. It's all sweet. And then I did like the big order. I was like, let's go all in on this and just run with it. And I ordered like $5,000 worth of lashes and eyeliner. And overnight, the company that I had been ordering from disappeared. Website gone, WhatsApp gone, Instagram gone, the whole thing disappeared. And I was like, what just happened? And the money,
Oh my God.
Like there was no recovering it.
And your bank couldn't retrieve it or anything.
No, so I did this really smart thing and I used I think it's Western Union. It's a wire transfer.
Oh no. Yeah, it's like a PayPal.
Yeah.
But not safe like PayPal.
Yeah. The moment that you send that money, it like gives you warnings. It's like, make sure you trust this person. And because I'd done like 4 or 5 orders already and everything was fine, I was like, it should be okay. Was not okay. They just disappeared.
And the fact you had received those orders and everything as well was like, you know, you're getting everything. You've got the stock. There is social proof. Like you know that it's gonna work. And then, fuck, that is the dodgiest thing ever. I remember hearing of like I was given a gift voucher for Christmas one year, and for a beauty clinic, and they basically ran all these like voucher sales and everything like that in the lead up to, and then just shut down one day, just the same thing. MIA, so all these clients left high and dry with unusable vouchers, deposits paid, everything like that. And like it didn't affect me. I didn't really care too much. I was like, I didn't actually pay for it. Disappointing. It's not the end of the world. But some of these people had gone in and bought like $1,000 vouchers because of this voucher sale. And I just thought, you dogs, you absolute bloody dogs. Like you knew and you did it anyway.
Yeah. That like happened again not that long ago, and I was like, I'm done with people do this stuff. I'm like, the cosmic karma from that is not good.
Yeah, I believe in money karma hard. I think that whatever's taken from you make back more, and I always think it comes back to bite the people who do it too.
Yeah, it will. It definitely will.
I agree.
Can't believe people do that.
And you've had multiple building disasters. You've obviously moved shops a couple of times or something, but you also said that like something you are really passionate about is actually safe lash extensions. And this is something that is a bane on the industry. I've been victimized by it a few times in my life too, when my rude lash appointments go and have babies and take mat leave and things like that. And they just break all your lashes off. And you know, someone I was seeing before I was seeing you who I thought seemingly was good. I'm a client. I don't know. I can't look closely at my lashes either. And then I go to someone like you. I'm like, wow, everything's totally different. So tell me about that, because there's definitely, give me the unfiltered version of like the dodgy side of lashing.
Okay. Where do we even start? Basically, lashes have this really big misconception. Everyone thinks that lashes cause damage. They're like, your natural lashes thinner afterwards, they're shorter, they're finer, all this sort of stuff. And it drives me insane because that's only the case if the lashes are applied wrong. If they're stuck on properly and they're the right size, the right weight, the right thickness, it's totally fine. And I still get people come through all the time and they've got tiny, tiny, tiny little lashes with huge extensions over the top. And I'm like, this is why people think lashes cause damage, because if they're done wrong and they're done like this, that's what causes the damage. And that's where, like, in my early days of my career, I had so many clients coming through with just, I remember them looking like tumbleweeds. Literal.
There was a phase there though, where, and like I was never a victim of this. There was a phase there though where like the big, crazy fake lash looking lashes were kind of trending.
And they still are. Like, it,
Yeah.
it breaks me when I see them because I'm like,
Oh,
oh, the damage that's going to come from that. And it hurts me to look at it because I was too a victim of it. Like, I didn't have the big giant lashes.
you know, we used to have anorexia. Is it lasharexia? Like
Lash blindness.
lash
Literally.
blindness.
It is. And like I think I was 18, roughly 18. And I remember, I was 18 because I went on schoolies and I was like, I want big lashes for schoolies. So I got these big lashes done and this lady, everyone said like, go to her. She does the best big lashes. They're fantastic, fantastic. So I did and I got them. And at the start I was like, all right, they're not too bad. Like I like them. Like they're big, they're floppy, like cool. And I got them done in the November. And I remember sitting there and like pulling out the last one when I was driving home from Sydney in January. And I was like, okay, lashes should not last this long. And when I did that, I know that I didn't help my case by like pulling out the last couple, but my eyes, I was completely bald. Like I was a bald eagle. I looked like a plucked chicken. Like there was just nothing. And I was like, I can't even put mascara on. What the hell do I do? And I was just mortified, absolutely mortified, because if I knew that my lashes were going to be so badly damaged at the end, I would never have done it. Would never have done it. And that was kind of like what really reiterated everything that I was already passionate about. I was like, this just comes down to education. And I didn't have the knowledge, even though I was already a lash tech. Like I didn't know enough because the training at the time was so basic and so minimal. We weren't taught any of this stuff. No one discussed it. It just was like this untold world where we knew nothing about it. And it was horrible. It was the worst experience. And that really just like made me go, this is what I love. So I just fell in love with fixing things. And I was like, I want to change the conception that lashes are damaging and they're bad. And I'm like, good lashes, when they're done with like the safe weights and safe lengths and everything in mind. Like I've got clients who've been coming to me for literally 8 years nonstop except for COVID. I'm like, that's the only break that they've had.
Well, and I mean, I remember how sad that was. Like, I think I had my lashes done, and then it was like 4 weeks later. There's like 4 still hanging on for dear life. But I do remember also when I was traveling around the US and around Mexico, and you took them off for me because originally I was like, I'm going to be here, and here, and here, and here on these dates. Like, send me to a good lash person. I can't live without my lashes. But then when we're going to Mexico, we only had our first place booked. So I was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have to take them off anyway. Best to take them off safely. And although I felt that I looked sick because I had, was so used to having these big, plushy, beautiful lashes, you took them off and my lashes were fine.
And that's exactly what I wanted to do for everyone. I'm like, I've got a client that's been getting thick lashes. Like they're really quite thick. But whenever they look like a little bit heavy, I'll always drop down the weight. And her lashes are literally the exact same as what they were 8 years ago with mega volume lashes on. And I'm like, that's what I want to do for all my clients. And that was another thing that like COVID really reiterated again was when all our clients had to have their lashes off, we had a big influx of people coming to us because all our clients were like, oh my God, my natural lashes still look really good underneath. Like I've never really noticed, but like I can put mascara on, they still look nice. And there were so many people that were having their lashes off for the first time. And they're like, I'm bald. And that was a big moment in the industry again, where the clients really highlighted the difference.
Yeah. And what's the solution, do you think, to regulating this? Because obviously even hairdressing and barbering is an unregulated industry in Australia. Coaching is as well. Like there's so many industries that's hard to monitor. What's your advice or what's your solution to that, do you think?
I think the level of training needs to just come up. I think that's the biggest thing, because I don't think it's going to ever be possible to have like an auditor or a regulator that goes into every home salon and checks how people are doing. But I think if the level of education can be like brought up higher and people are trained about safe length, safe weights, how to look after the lashes, then that's going to really start to change the industry. Because once everyone who is properly educated starts taking over and there's more and more people with that loud voice of we are doing this safely and we're doing it healthily, then I think we'll start seeing like a big change in the industry.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I think that's, I'd say that a lot of industry people in all varying industries would say the same thing. It's like, it's just lack of education, it's just lack of training. But I really liked what you said too, that it's like, you care. Anyone who's successful in the coaching world, it's because they care about the people. Anyone who's successful in your world, it's because they care about their clients. Their clients know that, they get the result, and it's always very client centric. And I think that's something that gets a little bit lost, but people might look to this as, to try and make money or to try and whatever. And it's not about that. It's about making people look hot.
Yeah, and feel good and do it.
Yeah.
It's safe and it's something maintainable, because basically when you look at it in like a business perspective, if you have clients that you're doing big, giant, long lashes on, and then they have to have a break every 6 months, 12 months, every time you lose that client and they have to stop and take a break from the lashes and let their natural lashes regrow, you then have to find a new client. You have to find someone
to fill that space up.
And it just cycle that you're going through your clientele all the time. And it's just not smart business.
I mean, there was someone sent me a snippet of a podcast recently, and it was somebody in the hair industry, and she had said, I've just got to get used to that people only come to my salon once. And I was like, sister, I don't think you should be saying that to people out loud. Like, that's I had some clients when I was an apprentice right through to when I sold, and then they'd move on to the other staff that I had, or the people that I sold to. And no, oh my God, I was like, girl, if your clients aren't coming back, there's a fundamental problem with what you're delivering, what you're offering, and everything there. Like, that's a client experience. That's the service itself. That's terrible.
Big time. And it's
I love that you've highlighted that too, that it's like, if you're making your clients take breaks, you're literally making them step away from your business for a time, and then you've got to fill that in with somebody else. It's hard work.
Yeah, and it's a loss of income, and then the cost of generating like a new client to come and fill that space. You end up losing money in the long run. Like, it's just not worth it.
Client acquisition is so expensive. I don't think people really understand that it costs so much more to acquire new clients. People are so focused on new clients, instead of like actually just looking after the existing ones.
Exactly. Like, if you're looking after the people that already support you, like, you've already gained their trust. They already like what you're delivering. Just look after them. Like, it's not a giant science to it. You just have to deliver good results and actually care.
100%. And look, I guess I want to take a little bit of a twist and turn here, which is, you have found the gym and you found MMA and you fit that in around your crazy, beautiful, busy life. But that, I guess, was a real turning point for your health. But there was a lot going on behind the scenes that you didn't really talk about. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so there was a lot with my health that did not do well. So starting a salon at a very young age, that's a lot of stress to take on. Paying other people's wages from literally the age of 20. And my first hire was a mum. She had a child. So I knew that, like, okay, this is on me. Like, I'm literally supporting a family.
I'm responsible for her. Yeah.
Yeah, and I overworked myself big time. So I had this crazy concept of, if I skip my lunch and I just work, like, fit an extra client in that hour, and then I'll go home an hour early, which never, ever happens.
Never happens. I had the same theory, don't worry. For many years.
We've all done it. And I was like,
fuck it. And it's also like, it's like an extra $100. I'll just like work through it. It's all good. Like,
exactly. You just see dollar signs and you think like, I'll be fine. I'll just work through. And I did that for years. It wasn't just like a short-term thing. I was doing that for so long. And I ended up developing anorexia before my 21st birthday. So I was very, like, in a very vulnerable state mentally and physically. And that continued up until, it wasn't actually that long ago. It was about 3 years ago that I started really getting a handle on it. So from oh God, how old am I now? 28. So from about 20 to 25, I was severely anorexic. I was a size 4 to a size 6. And I remember having this screwed up mindset where I was like, why don't shops make clothes small enough for me? And looking back, I'm like, that's because you are not in a good way. Like, I needed to actually shift everything in my life to start making time for my health.
Yeah, I forget the language you used there, but you said something about like you pulled yourself out of it or you came through it. How did you do that?
So I got out of a very toxic relationship, which was a very big contributor to my eating disorder and my underweight issues. So once I got out, one of my biggest things, I just threw myself into the gym. I was like, I don't want to lose weight. I want to gain muscle. And I just kept working and working, going consistently. And when you first come out of a relationship, you do find yourself with a lot more time. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
what do I do with time? Like,
Then you've got to sit in the silence and the loneliness and learn to be alone and learn to just like live your life. And what a beautiful way to channel it. How did you navigate the exit from a domestic violence relationship? Because I know for myself that was extremely hard, and I suffered with anorexia through exactly the same time. And, you know, like, how did you navigate your exit? Because that was really hard for you. Like, you lived together, you'd been together a long time, like, you'd grown up together, you know, like, how did that look for you?
it was probably one of the most difficult times in my life. Like, that was
Yeah.
very hard. I had to show up and come to work and be present for my team when I was home and I was completely broken. Like, I had no idea who I was anymore. I was so lost. And when you have such a toxic relationship that you're in, you're used to hearing that voice of doubt, that voice of like, you're not good enough. And once that voice is like silenced and taken away, it takes a bit of time to kind of figure out, who am I really? Am I really this person that believes all these things that have just been drilled into my brain for so many years? Or am I going to fight that? Am I going to learn everything about myself again? And it was actually my mum. She was doing martial arts training and she was like, come to a session. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was so embarrassed and I was so shy. I remember when I first went, I literally like had the PT and I was like, close the rest of the gym, close the door. I don't want people walking past. I don't want people seeing me. I don't want to look stupid. And I was so self-conscious of everything. And I was like, no, I need to be in complete privacy to learn this. And working with her, she was actually like a trauma-based coach. So she had a whole history in mental health and mental illness. She had been through a lot of the same battles that I'd been through. And we just connected on like a universal level. She is one of my favorite people in this world. She's absolutely fantastic, a complete inspiration. She has turned her life around. She has done so many incredible things. And I don't have enough good things I could say about her. She's fantastic. And working with her, we did 2 sessions a week, every week. She was like, just make time for it. So we did a Wednesday and a Friday in the morning, and that just became part of my routine. I was like, I'm doing it because the benefits that I felt being able to be strong and actually knowing like I can defend myself and I'm not going to be in that situation where I need to, but if it did ever arise, I had that power and that strength. And that was something that like, that changed everything for me. And we continued training for the last 2 years. She has had some health complications herself lately, so I've stepped away from it recently. But she changed my entire life by coming in and being like, girl, let's do this. And she was just so empowering. And doing martial arts, like it is a male dominated sport. Like we were doing MMA, so it was a little bit of karate, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, a little bit of kickboxing, a little bit of gender boxing, like a little bit of everything. And I physically watched my body go through so many changes with that. Like when I first started, I was tiny, I was so thin, I was still underweight.
I remember you, one day I remember coming in and you had like a belt around your jeans and like your jeans were like so puckered up around you because you're just like, oh yeah, nothing fits me anymore. And it was really hard to see.
Yeah.
And now you're like strong queen.
Yeah. It's the
muscle mama.
Big time. Because
I love that
now and seeing where I was, like my family were really concerned. And looking back, I completely understand why. Like the photos I see of myself, it makes me sad that I was so unwell. And like at the time, my partner that I had was so toxic that he didn't give a shit. He did not care. He used to intentionally like start arguments and fights with me at dinner time so that my anxiety would peak and I wouldn't feel like eating. Like that level of toxicity. It was so bad. And then
I remember my partner. I remember my partner in that time. Like he was very physically violent, and I honestly believe he actually tried to keep me small so that I couldn't fight back. Like I actually think that he actually kept me small and wanted me to stay small and manipulated me into being that so that I was not strong. Like I feel that there would be a lot of people that could relate to that too. And it's fucking hideous. I'm so proud of you for pulling yourself out of that, falling in love with fitness. I'm married to a man who's addicted to fitness as well, and I absolutely love it. But I think another thing, I remember watching that journey unfold. Obviously we live on the other side of the country to each other, but I remember watching that journey unfold, and like you got yourself your little house, and I remember you just like starting to put like, you used to like, you're kind of like me, you're a bit eclectic and you like weird shit. And so you'd like start to like buy little things that meant something to you, and like you'd thrift things and you'd find things on Marketplace and you'd like build this beautiful home. But I think the most beautiful thing that came from all of that is you adopted a dog, and you are like what my first dog and I were like. You come as a set, and it has been the cutest thing to watch.
Oh, he's an actual angel. Like, he's a little terror, don't get me wrong, but he just
Totally.
the perfect dog at the perfect time. Like, when my partner and I had separated, that was the hardest thing. Like, my mum said to me, she was like, I will buy you a freaking dog if it means you will leave him, because every time we'd separate, I'd be like, I miss the dog, and I'd want to go back purely for the dog, which is so silly. But I
Right. So you had he had a dog before you guys got together or whatever. Yeah.
And through COVID, that dog was my lifeline. It was my only source of affection. It was my best friend. I was with him all day, every day. And like, he came in the car with me doing all my little deliveries. Like, we were so close. And then when I lost that, the house it was silent. There was no one there. It was quiet. It was just me. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I need a dog. I was like, I'm getting into my fitness. I'm doing all these walks. I feel weird going for a walk without a dog. Like, that just feels strange. So I was like,
I'm just walking on my own. This is bizarre. I've got nothing to drag me along. Yeah.
It's so weird. And I remember like those first, because it took me about 4 or 5 weeks. It wasn't very long to adopt a dog. And I remember coming to work, and all I was doing, I was just sitting out the back, like on petrescue.com looking for a dog. And my sister was like, can you please do some work? And I'm like, no, I need to find a dog. Like, my life is just, I need to find a dog. And
how did you pick him? Why him?
God, it was a journey. So I did meet and greet with like 5 different dogs, and each of them, they were beautiful, but I was like, I'm not feeling this is right. Like, it just didn't feel like the right match. And I was like, nah. I got so disheartened. I was like, I'm not looking anymore. Like, I'm taking a break. I'm just going to step back. And I got a notification from Gumtree, and it was like, new listing that you might be interested in because you looked at dogs. And it was actually a free to good home post. And when I read it, it was like, we're in the Melbourne housing crisis. We've got to move out of our house. We can't take the dog with us, and we can't have him. So we're looking for a suitable home. So I messaged a lady, and I sent like 25 questions about this dog. And I was like, what's he like? What's his personality? How much exercise is he used to? Like, tell me everything. And I just asked so many questions, and she ended up, like, we're back and forth for ages talking about it. And she was like, oh, my friend's actually going to take him. And I was like, look, if that means you still get to see your dog, fair enough, see how you go. But she already had a dog, and they weren't sure if they were going to mesh. So I waited and let them like try it out with her friend. And I remember messaging her, and I was like, hi, like, just checking in. How did you and your friend fare with the dog? And she was like, not good. I think my friend just wants a free dog. I don't think she actually cares about him. You seem like you care about him. So I'm going to go and get him, and I want you to have him. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. All right. And I was like, when do you want me to come up? And she was like, you need to do it tonight. And I was like, okay. She was in Dandenong and I'm in Geelong. So it was
oh my God,
4.5 hours round trip. I convinced my sister, who is not a dog person, to drive me all the way to Melbourne to get him because I didn't know what he'd be like in the car. We got there and I played with him for like 5 minutes, and I was just like, I like this dog.
He's the best.
He's cool. Like, he's really good. And he was so overweight. Like, his fur felt like straw. Like, he was dirty. He wasn't being fully loved. And I remember, like, I walked into I remember playing with him, and then the lady was like, okay, here's his stuff, like gave me a bag of his stuff and was like, bye. And I was like, oh, okay. I have a dog. Like, okay,
It sounds like you saved each other. Like, it sounds like he saved you saved him.
Yeah.
There is nothing like the first dog you have on your own. Like, there's just nothing quite like it. Nothing compares to it. And,
No.
it's been the most beautiful relationship to watch unfold. And
he's so
you
good.
get that little man in your life.
He's been fantastic. And like, he's clingy. He is a clingy dog. Like, he does not.
It was stage 5. He would have to have a paw on me or a face on me or something on me or be touching my foot or be sitting next to me on the couch. Like, and that's cute as.
It's so good because I was so alone at the time and I was like, okay, we bonded so quickly. It did not take long at all. And we were just like inseparable. He came everywhere with me. He can't come to the salon. He sheds too much hair, and he's also way too big. He's like 30 something kilos. So he's a decent sized dog.
He's gorge. And so I guess the other thing that's come out of this too is you're now in a polarizingly beautiful romantic relationship.
It's so strange. Like, it is such a big adjustment. Like, it's beautiful and it's amazing and I love it.
Smacks you in the face, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. So, like, my partner now is so supportive and, like, he picks up on absolutely everything. I've never met such an observant person. Like, if I am not eating enough, like, he will pull me up and be like, you haven't eaten enough. I'm cooking dinner. Like, I'll cook everything. I'll get everything sorted. You do your work stuff, whatever you need to do, but you need to make sure you're eating enough. And like, it's just, I'm still waiting for that penny to drop. I'm still waiting for the moment that
Don't manifest from fear, manifest from joy.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is just, it's working really well. We've known each other a really long time. So he knows all of the struggles that I've been through. He knows all of the situations that I had overcome. And he is like my biggest cheerleader. Like, he is so lovely and just everything that I do, like every day, he's just like, I'm proud of you. Like, you got this. Like, whenever I do anything, like, he is just like, we need to celebrate. We need to be excited. Like, we need to be living in these moments of happiness and like reward yourself for the hard work that you do. Whereas, like, my last relationship, when we built the salon, when I opened the business, all that sort of stuff, it was just glazed over. There was no like happy moment. There was no enjoying, like, okay, like no celebration of anything. Whereas this is just like the complete opposite. Like, he celebrates everything. He's just like, oh my God, you're doing a podcast? Like, I'm so excited for you.
I joke about that too. You've probably heard me say it before on the pod, but like, I always say that, like, Cam, whenever he watches me on stage or comes and does something, he like looks at me like the love heart eye emoji, just like stares at me like, oh, it's so cute. And I'm like, it's the best thing ever. And I'm exactly the same for him. It's so nice to be in a relationship, in a romantic relationship where you have a teammate, like you have a partner, like you have someone who's, you come as a set, like you're together all the time, you support each other, you love each other achieving, and it's just, it's scarily beautiful and amazing and all the things. So I love that.
Is. I'm very, very grateful.
I love that. And look, I guess I just kind of want to finish this on another one of your weird little quirks, because I think you're such a boy girl. Like, I'm a bit of a boy girl. Like, I'm like into boy things too, but you're a Formula One fan, huge NRL member, and you love your MMA, which is probably pretty obvious because that's something that you do now. How did you get into sports? Why sports? Why heavy metal music? Why all of those things?
God, there's so many different factors. So, like, I grew up as very much so, like, my dad definitely wanted boys. He did not plan on having girls. So I was, like, riding motorbikes by the time I was 3 years old, like, spent all my younger years at, like, motorbike tracks. And my sister, competed professionally with cars from the age of, like, 14. So between the two of us, like, we were both thrown into, like, extreme sports, male-dominated industries, and we loved it. We just thrived. We did so well and really, really enjoyed it. And then when I was 13 or 14, and I went to Soundwave with my mum, and I was just, that was the...
Can I just stop there for a second on your mama? Because you guys have such a great relationship. And I remember one year you were saying that, like, oh yeah, me and mum just go sit on the beach on Christmas Day, get drunk together and eat food and then walk home. And I'm like, that is so nice. And I know like you have such a beautiful relationship with her. So you went to Soundwave with your mum. That's amazing.
I'm like, mum and I, we still do the beach thing every year at Christmas. Like, rain, hail, or shine. Last year it was cold, so we sat in the boot of the car and just like had a few drinks and watched the kite surface falling off. But mum is just, she and I have always had like this insane bond. We've always been so close. And like my parents separated when I was like in really early high school, and mum and I just were instantly meshed. Like we've been so close ever since then. So mum and I have traveled together. We've gone on holidays together. We have done like, we went to Meredith Music Festival and like slept in the tent for 3 days together. Like mum and I are so close, and she is just like, again, like one of my biggest supporters, my biggest cheerleader. Like every salon that I built, she was there every step of the way. Like she has painted just as many walls as I have. She's everything.
That's the best.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you've got the salons, you've got the relationship, you've got the dream dog, you've got a great family relationship. What's next for you?
Oh, that's a fun one.
I know I didn't prep you with that one.
But I think that's a good thing. I do want to do a lot of travel, but I also, like, as a business owner, I feel like I have done so much learning and so much growth over the last like 9 years of being a boss. And I feel like I'm finally actually really coming into my element, because when I was in that toxic relationship, it really affected my ability to be a boss, because I had so much self-doubt and I didn't like myself. So I didn't take many chances. I didn't take all these opportunities.
It also makes you more emotional. It makes you see things from a different perspective. It pushes.
I wasn't at my best self as a boss. And I feel like the last 3 years, I've really worked really hard to like learn how to be a boss, how to actually be a businesswoman. So I feel like the next chapter is really like the success story. I feel like that's where like I've done so much amazing stuff already, but like what's next? I'm like, this is going to be going from like level A to level B. Like we're ready to move up. So I feel like I'd love it to travel, but like really having everything sorted in the business and like smooth sailing.
That's the best way to end this. And I'm so grateful for you sharing that. I love that this is just like the bunker down era where it's just like, let's just like grow and flow and just do what we're called to do and just like let things happen while I'm feeling really good. I think that's fucking amazing. Well, I really look forward to keeping up with you and everything that's going on. If anybody wants to look up Tash, if anyone wants to get some lash courses, if anyone wants to come see Tash as a client, where do they find you?
So we have Lash Baby Salon and Lash Baby Oz as our Instagram. So Lash Baby Oz is for our professional side. So Lash Articles and Lash Supplies.
Yep.
And Lash Baby Salon is our beautiful salon.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tash.
No, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.
First podcast. Killed it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries.